Chapter 273, Ultra Precision Nano Dimension Diagram 2. That little? Zhu Tui was shocked. It's too difficult to get started. Many students can't even persevere. Ku Qingshan sighed. As for the fact that no one is on the Longhu list, that's because there are very few people. Secondly, cultivation is very difficult. For other schools, as long as one activated genetic base points according to a fixed method, they would be able to obtain the corresponding genetic ability chain and obtain powerful abilities. But what about our school of general senses? It was a little like a blind man touching a mountain. There was once an ordinary student who sat on that small mountain for 5 years. In order to sense the original quantum frequency of the mountain, he even delayed his graduation because of that. If not for the fact that the school of general senses was rather special, he would have been expelled long ago. However, 5 years later, he who had sensed the original frequency of the mountain shocked everyone. After his cultivation, he could suppress anyone below the genetic evolution stage. Now, he is already a famous expert in the extraterrestrial battlefield. Ku Qingshan said, "Who is this person? His surname is Ji, and his name is Ji Gi. If you have the chance to go to extraterrestrial in the future, you should be able to meet him," Ku Qingshan said. Jigui, Zhu Tui memorized the name. Ku Qingshan was very proud at the mention of this name. However, after his pride, he felt lonely. However, there are too few students like Jigi who have the perseverance to sit for 5 years without being affected by the outside world. It was simply rare. Most of the students could not sit still after sitting for 3 to 5 months. Those who could sit for half a year or a year were considered to have perseverance. However, because they couldn't see any results, they switched to other departments or even other paths. After all, those who could be selected into the School of General Senses were all people with mental abilities. Their career prospects are not bad. At this point, Ku Qingshan let out another long sigh. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stayed as a professor after 17 or 18 years. There were really too few students who produced results. As for scientific research theories, they were even more difficult. Our theory of the School of General Senses is too mysterious. The difficulty of replication is almost at the level of hell. Zhu Tui nodded when he heard that. No wonder Ku Qingshan was only an associate professor even though he was very strong. It turned out that there was a reason for this. Zhu Tui suddenly thought of something when he heard Ku Qingshan sigh. By the way, Professor Ku, when I first entered the school for the mental perception test, there was a student named Du Hong. His perception ability was excellent, and he had a flat nose. Do you remember him? How is he now? Did he persist? Zhu Tui asked. Zhu Tui asked this question because it was an idea that Zhao Saxui had left in his mind. After she had asked him to keep his mental perception to himself, he remembered it now, so he asked it casually. Du Hong, I remember. Ku Qingshan looked at the small mountain outside. He transferred schools less than 2 months after school started. Transfer school? This result stunned Zhu Tui. Yes, his mental perception is excellent. Some places are more suitable for his growth. The conditions they offer are also very generous. At this moment, Ku Qingshan's voice suddenly lowered. Zhu Tui, forget about this person. Don't ask about Du Hong in the future. Pretend that he never existed. This might do him some good. Zhu Tui was still a little confused when he heard the first sentence. However, Ku Qingshan's last sentence made Zhu Tui completely understand. What Zhao Saxui said was true. That flat-nosed Du Hong might have really been transferred away by the intelligence agency because of his outstanding mental perception. It must have been voluntary. After all, Ku Qingshan had said that the other party's conditions were very generous. How is it? Have you decided? Do you want to choose the School of General Senses? Ku Qingshan looked at Zhu Tui again. He looked eager. It was not that Ku Qingshan was anxious. According to Ku Qingshan and Luo Shifeng's conversation, Zhu Tui was extremely suitable for the School of General Senses. Zhu Tui's mental perception was very strong. There was also introspection. Introspection was actually one of the microscopic perceptions that the School of General Senses needed. Also, Zhu Tui's research ability was really very strong. On this point, Luo Shifeng and Ku Qingshan classified this as of the School of Enlightened Mind's intelligence. Intelligence of the School of Enlightened Mind was an ability that could not be quantified. It was very mysterious, but sometimes it was very important. With intelligence, one could be enlightened. Without intelligence, one would be at a bottleneck for hundreds of years. For example, Luo Shifeng, who was a neurologist, had not produced any results for many years, just like Ku Qingshan. However, Zhu Tui had only practiced his reflexes with Luo Shifeng for a few months. It had been more than 2 months. But Luo Shifeng had already received a lot of honors. In front of others and all the leaders, he had become a true professor-level figure. When Xinglin had addressed Luo Shifeng as Professor Luo during the meeting the day before yesterday. But what about Ku Qingshan? He even addressed him as Little Ku. This gap. Damn it! Qingshan wanted Zhu Tui to enter the School of General Senses, but he did not expect any research results. It was too difficult for the School of General Senses to produce research results. He just wanted to take advantage of the situation and be a professor. If he went out to mingle, he would be proud. At the very least, he would have more face when they gathered together. Mr. Ku, I've decided. I'll choose the School of General Senses. However, I don't know if I can persevere, Zhu Tui said after some careful consideration. Ku Qingshan was immediately excited. He rubbed his hands together excitedly. The perseverance you displayed on the Longhu list was very strong. You should be able to persevere. You definitely could do it. Moreover, your mental perception has already reached a range of 8 meters. With your introspection, you should be able to produce results faster than ordinary students. It doesn't have to be as long as half a year. Ku Qingshan was so happy that he was a little incoherent. Zhu Tui nodded. Mr. Ku, how do I get into the School of General Senses? If you want to enter the School of General Senses, you have to activate a microscopic perception ability. It's very simple to activate this microscopic perception ability, but it also requires painstaking effort. As he spoke, Ku Qingshan ran to the office not far away and took out a stack of 3-dimensional drawing paper that was filled with densely packed dots. There were 7 sheets in total. Ku Qingshan handed it over to Zhu Tui. What's this? Thesis, a tool to train your microscopic perception abilities. It was also called the ultra-precision nano dimension diagram. The size of all the pictures in the first picture started from a millimeter from the edge, then shrunk by 10 times. It was 100 microns, 10 microns, 1 micron, and 100 nanometers. Other than millimeters, it was difficult to see these patterns with the naked eye. You need to use your mental perception to sense them carefully. If you persisted in sensing them for a long time, you would be able to slowly sense them. The second smallest picture was 10 nanometers. The third smallest picture was 1 nanometer. The fourth smallest picture was 0.1 nanometers. The fifth smallest picture was 0.01 nanometers. The sixth picture was 0.001 nanometers. The seventh picture was 0.0001 nanometers. There is a word at the core of each picture. If you could see this word, you could move on to the next picture. Under normal circumstances, if one could complete the cultivation of the first 4 diagrams, they would basically be able to activate the genetic base points of their microscopic perception. The first step is considered complete, Ku Qingshan said. Microscopic perception? How long does this usually take? Zhu Tui asked. This is a relatively difficult step. It usually takes 3 to 6 months. Of course, some geniuses can complete it within a month or 2. I think it's highly likely that you'll finish it in a month or 2, Ku Qingshan quickly added. Then I should cultivate this first? That's right. You have to complete the cultivation of at least 4 diagrams and report the words you see to me. If you are correct, you will pass, Ku Qingshan said. After nodding, Zhu Tui took the 7 ultra-precision nano-dimension diagrams and left the research center. However, he had come in a repulsive force wheelchair. On the way back, he would be ridden by a repulsive force wheelchair. This thing was quite expensive. He had to return it to the hospital. However, Zhu Tui almost slapped himself after he walked for a while with the heavy repulsive force wheelchair. Couldn't he sit in a repulsive wheelchair after his leg was broken? Why is he carrying it? He first went to the medical center to return the repulsive wheelchair. According to the doctor's instructions, Zhu Tui would need another 7 days before he could return the repulsive wheelchair. However, he had returned it in advance. However, the nurse at the front desk was not surprised. In this era, it was actually very common to see such a scene. A plant-type supernatural being had the ability to accelerate the recovery of injuries. After that, Zhu Tui returned to his own dormitory. He first tried to use his mental perception to look at the ultra-precision nano dimension diagram.